I'm someone who loves self-care. So today I just want to talk about 8 things that I do personally every single day, or at least try to do every single day, that have helped me feel my best and helped me just to develop a love for self-care and make it feel not so much like a chore, but rather something I love doing and that I get to do in my days. So starting off with self-care habit number 1 is journaling. I started journaling maybe 5-ish years ago, and I have not stopped since. Journaling to me is something that brings order to my racing and chaotic thoughts. I'm quite an anxious person. Writing down and getting just all those thoughts out on paper just helps me kind of externalize them and organize them also into something that's more manageable and more able to understand and rationalize. Through journaling, you can reflect on moments, whether they be positive or negative. You can write down how you're feeling, and you can really stay present in each moment, whether it's an uncomfortable or a comfortable moment. And I feel like that's really hard to do without something concrete like a journal, at least for me. And that's why it's just been such an integral part of my self-care habits. And also, journaling is kind of like a running log or historical record of yourself and your growth. I have a bin with all my journals where I have been writing down my feelings and my thoughts and my worries and my wins over the last 5 years. And it's so cool to look back on them. They're kind of like time machines, and I think it's fun to think of journals in that way because you can really just step back into yourself years ago and step back into the shoes of what you were stressed about, what you were worried about, what you were going through, what experiences were you having, and then you can think about where you are now, and it just can really show you how much growth you've made. My second self-care habit that I do every day to help me feel my best is skincare. I'm someone who has struggled with acne since about the age of 12 or 13. It's now developed into more like hormonal acne around my chin. Doing my skincare and also just finding the products that work for my skin is such an important self-care habit. Doing my skincare honestly just feels like a non-negotiable at this point because it's something that I know helps me feel my best and helps my skin feel its best as well. I love doing facial massages, using gua sha tools as well, even certain ice rollers and other stone rollers. Starting my day and ending my day with making myself feel good in that way and caring for myself is just so important. Self-care habit number 3 that I try to do every single day, and this one I'm definitely still working on, but it's incorporating high protein in all of my meals. As someone who struggled with their relationship with food, and I have been plant-based and vegan in the past, incorporating animal meats is definitely something more recent and I've been doing in the last year. But let me tell you, I have been feeling so much better. Like I said, it's something I'm still working on and trying to grow consistency with high protein in my meals. But when I do, I just feel so much more satiated. I feel so energized when I go to the gym or go on a walk or just go about day-to-day life. And trying to focus on higher protein is also at the same time kind of helping me diversify my meals because I'm thinking about how can I add to this? How can I add more protein? What different ingredients can I bring to this? Rather than what diet culture sometimes preaches is what can you take out? What food groups can you cut out? So just trying to incorporate more protein has not only helped my strength and just feeling strong in my body, but it's also helping me like heal my relationship with food. So that's something I really try to focus on. Self-care habit number 4 that always makes me feel good is moving my body. The key with this self-care habit specifically is not to expect it to look a certain way, and also not to compare how you move your body to other people. I'm someone who has fallen victim to diet culture's world of comparison and defining what types of workouts you have to do, how many calories you have to burn, and how many steps you should take every day. Like all those things are so not important. And what's most important is to listen to your body and respond to what your body needs and what type of movement feels good to you. That is kind of the core of this self-care habit, is moving your body in ways that feel good to you. If that looks like some yoga stretches in the morning, that's amazing. If that looks like going on a walk every day, that's great. If that looks like training for a marathon, that's great too. If that looks like boxing or skiing or hiking or Pilates or yoga, whatever it is, there's so many different ways to move your body, and all of them are great. None of them are better than one another. It's purely what works best for you. And another reason for moving your body is that personally, it helps me reduce my stress and it helps me release my stress. Kind of like journaling helps me organize and clarify all my racing thoughts. Moving my body does the same type of thing, and it definitely is a different type of release. If I'm angry or I'm very anxious or I'm very restless, moving my body is the best way to release that. If I'm really in my head and I'm kind of internalizing a lot of things and I'm overthinking overthinking, journaling is the best thing for that. It's really about understanding what your body needs at each moment and how you can best help yourself. Self-care habit number 5 that makes me feel my best every day is seeing the friends that fill me up, seeing the friends that energize me, and seeing the friends that truly just leave me feeling better than before I saw them. Seeing the people that I really resonate with, that I feel supported by and feel loved by, and just kind of filling up my social cup in that way is so important. Equally, it's important to notice when you need your alone time, but seeing friends, honestly, and intentionally socializing and seeing the friends that I know and love, but also pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and meeting new people, those are all part of self-care habits for me. Self-care habit number 6 is to always honor my cravings and honor my sweet tooth, get that sweet treat if I want it. Because like I mentioned, I've struggled with my relationship with food and I've had an eating disorder in the past. So honoring my cravings when I feel them and getting that ice cream, getting that dessert, getting that cookie whenever I'm craving it and really wanting it is a huge form of self-care for me. Honoring your cravings just demonstrates to both your body and your mind that you're deserving of all foods and that you don't need to have a restrictive or scarce mindset around certain foods. I have struggled with labeling foods, having a scarcity mindset around foods, and feeling very controlled by food. But that's because I was placing these certain foods up on a pedestal. Because they were up on that pedestal, I was obsessively thinking about them, and I feel like if I had it, I would never stop eating it ever, and I would just continuously eat it forever and ever and ever. But the body doesn't naturally want to do that. Having what will satiate me in each moment is such an important form of self-care and something I do every single day. Self-care habit number 7 is to plan fun events ahead of time. And this self-care habit can look as big or as small as you want it to be. It could just be planning a coffee date with a friend to catch up and socialize, or it could be planning a trip to Europe, plan a trip to Asia, go traveling with someone, or go traveling by yourself. It can be either end and everything in between. Planning things ahead of time, planning things that you can look forward to and that you can have fun planning for is so important because it kind of helps the mundaneness and the repetitiveness of some days feel a lot more manageable and a lot more light and a lot more exciting. Taking time to plan a solo date, plan a coffee date, plan a dinner date, plan a trip, plan a weekend getaway, plan a staycation, anything like that, I feel like is so important to self-care. And last but certainly not least, my self-care habit number 8 is to say no when you need to. This has been something I've been working on a lot the last few years, and this self-care habit just really helps build trust and strengthen that relationship with yourself. When you say yes to something that you really want to say no to, that is just further severing the relationship you have with yourself and further disconnecting the trust and the bond that you can have with yourself. But when you say no and you honor what you need, that is strengthening your boundaries, that is giving yourself confidence that you know how to care for yourself and you know what's best for you, and that you don't owe anyone your time and you don't owe anyone your energy because your time and your energy is yours. Saying no when you need to is an act of self-care, but it's also an act of self-love and self-respect. And it's showing yourself, demonstrating to yourself that I care for you so much that we're going to say no to this because you don't want to do it, and that's okay. Other people may want to do it, other people may say yes, but you know that you need to say no, so we're going to say no. And I feel like I've heard many times that people say, unless it's a hell yes, it's a no. And that is definitely a form of self-care and a habit that I'm trying to implement every single day. And when I do, it always makes me feel my best. Definitely I'm still working on it sometimes, but it's always a work in progress. Aren't we all just always a work in progress? And so these are 8 self-care habits that I'm actively doing every single day and working on every single day to make me feel my best and help the days just feel more manageable, and also help build my self-love and my self-respect and just strengthen the most important relationship that you'll ever have, the one with yourself.